Hello, welcome to She Boss Talk. I'm Shantae Roddy. I'm coming on with an important update regarding SBA stimulus funding programs that are available for entrepreneurs and small business owners. You guys have so many questions, going through so many challenges, so we want to make sure we address all the questions and that we can help facilitate you getting through the process with all of these multi-billion-dollar programs that are being administered right now through the SBA. This is the time right now. I'm opening up this time on a nice Saturday to answer your questions as well as I'm giving these important updates. So as people are coming in, do let me know who you are, where you're hailing from, what your business is. And I will be asking questions related to the different programs you all have applied for and what your status is, like what part of the process that you're in. If you're tuning in, if you have not already subscribed, do subscribe. We appreciate all of our supporters that are out there that continue to share our information, that continue to be able to help small businesses. Do give this a thumbs up, hit the love button wherever you are. And again, share out this video on our channel because sharing is caring. I get so many inboxes, emails every single day with questions related to all of these different programs. And so we know that, the American Rescue Plan Act passed earlier this year. It's a $1.9 trillion bill, right? Stimulus money. And right before then, in December, there was a $900 billion bill. So all of these programs, they're rolling out, right? So there's going to be some bumps in the road. We know that a lot of small businesses are kind of stuck in some of these different programs, trying to figure out what to do, what's going on. But I want you to know that you have power. You have to be an advocate for yourself. Use your voice. And if you feel like you're stuck or you're being treated unfairly with regards to any of the processes with any of these programs, I encourage you to take action, to call your congressional representatives, go to Twitter, call the SBA. The SBA has regional directors, so you can call them and voice your concern. That's how we're able to get improvements made for these different programs. So there's a lot to cover. So I'm just going to get right to it. I'm going to start with the Restaurant Revitalization Fund. This is a grant up to $10 million. This is max and $5 million per location. So we know that this program started off smoothly. We haven't heard of any bumps in the road. So if you have applied for the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, let me know. This is for restaurants, bars, and many other food and beverage businesses where people patronize you. So they come on site to purchase food or drink, any type of food, any type of drink. So the definition is broad. So I want to make sure that all of you are out there, if you're in the food and beverage industry and you qualify for this program, that you're applying. We do not anticipate that the funding will last long. So there's not a deadline. The deadline is basically when the funding runs out. So all the industry experts expect it for this to be able to run out quickly. The first round, like the first 21 days of this program, are dedicated to processing applications for those that are in underserved communities, like women, veterans, and those in socially and economically disadvantaged businesses. Those that are disadvantaged or underserved is another term that they use. So out the gate, like in the first few days, they received over 180,000 applicants. Now, of those applicants, 50% are in underserved communities. Okay, so applicants have been they put out a report on February the 6th. And that's where I'm getting this information from. But there's been applicants from all 50 states. So I was concerned about that because I was doing videos on the restaurant. I've done about 5 or 6 videos on the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, and it doesn't get as many views as some of my other videos. So I was wondering if businesses know to apply. So I want to make sure you still apply. It's still open, right? So this is the latest program applications to open. You can go to the SBA website at sba.gov/restaurants. or restaurants.sba.gov. With this application, also, they have partnered with POS systems like Square, Toast, and Clover. So if you use any of these companies as for your financial transactions for your POS system, you can apply through them. So it's making it easier where you can actually pull the data from your POS system into the application. So they really, with this program, have tried to be very innovative and partner with those fintech companies to help make this process smooth and easier for you to be able to apply. We know that over 61,000 businesses have applied that have revenues under 500K. What they estimate is that for this program, the approval process or the review to get to the approval will be about 14 days. Look, I would say add a couple weeks onto that because we already know, like with some of these other programs, they have estimated days and it can be slow. So if it's not 14 days, that's probably the lowest out of all the programs, but 14 days to process. So know it at least be 14 days, but expect that it may be a little bit longer because they're processing all of these different applications. So that's the Restaurant Revitalization Fund. So if you have a restaurant, a bar, a winery, distillery, brewery, brew pub, a snack shop, snack bar, juice bar, it runs the gamut. So I want to make sure that you apply. So if you are in the food and beverage industry and you have applied, please let me know in the comments. If you know someone that is in the industry, you have peers and friends out there, you eat at different small businesses that are restaurants and juice bars and things like that. We do that every day. If you know someone, tag them in this video, share the video with them because they may not know this is available. And again, the money is expected to run out relatively quickly. We don't know how soon, but we saw with the PPP how quickly it can happen. So it's here today. So you don't want to delay. You don't want to procrastinate and say, okay, I'm gonna put it off to tomorrow or put it off to next week because the funding may have been run out by that time. So if you see this, as soon as you see it, you go to sba.gov and apply for the program. And again, you can apply through your POS system if it is one of their partners. Like I said, I know Toast, Clover, and Square. Square Up is one of our 3 of their partners. So if you have questions related to the Restaurant Revitalization Grant, please post it and I'll circle back on those questions. Before I end, so with the Restaurant Revitalization Grant, there is no hard date that you had to have started your business. You could have started in 2021 and still qualify for this grant program. You could have not made any sales, but spent money on expenses. We know restaurants do that. You get the building, you do the build out, you're hiring folks before you even open your doors and start making money. So they have various calculations that you can use just depending on your circumstance, your business, when you started your business, and again, what your situation is. And all that information is on the website. They also have videos and FAQs. So again, go and apply right now after this video. Watch this video, share it out, and then go apply. Now, the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant is, again, a newer grant, opened right in April, right before the Restaurant Revitalization Grant. This is for live venues, operators. Now, I know people that are out there, you know them too. I just had someone in one of my Facebook groups that mentioned that she has a theater or a museum. So theaters, museums, live performance. So if you have an event venue and the majority of your business is having live talent come in and perform, people pay to see live performances. If you are you represent talent, you manage live talent, artists, comedians, other types of talent, you can qualify for this program. Now we know that out the gate, 17,000. So I thought 17,000 was a lot, right? And it is. but 180,000 applicants for the Restaurant Revitalization Program. So this is 17,000 in the first like 48 hours had applied for the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant. So if this is you want to go again to the SBA website at sba.gov. We have tons of videos on all these programs. Shuttered Venue, do go back and watch those videos. You want to make sure that you know that you have reviewed, that you know what the requirements are, what makes you eligible. Read through information before you actually apply, because some people are moving so quickly that they're missing steps, missing information, hitting wrong buttons, and it's going to cause you to get denied. I've seen it is happening. So you want to avoid that from happening to you. But I know with the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant, you have to have been in business as of February 29th of 2021. With both of these programs, you can get PPP, but they do offset your grant amount with your PPP loan amount that you receive. But the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant is up and available. Applications, I have not heard since they correct the first issues. They closed the program, reopened it. It has been running smoothly. I did a video on it, did a screen share on what it looks like when you go. You're actually in line. It's kind of like when you go into like the driver's bureau, right? And you take a ticket and you're in line. It's automatic like that. And so it makes it go much smoothly. So I haven't heard any additional problems since they reopened the program. So that's the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant. Again, this is another grant program up to $10 million is the maximum amount. So for this one, you do need to be registered in SAM. You do need to have a DUNS number. So that means, these are for businesses that really have their business structured. They have EINs, their registration, because you have to be registered in SAM in order to apply for the in order to apply for the Shuttered Venue Operator Grant. Okay, that's the only grant right now of the stimulus grants that has that requirement to go through the SAM system, which is the federal government's system for awards management. That's the system everyone goes through. If you want to do business with the government, you want to get a contract with the government or a grant through the government, you go through that system. So again, if you have any questions related to the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant, let me know in the comments. Now, I'm going to, instead of EIDL, I'm going to start with PPP because I announced that shockingly, right, we all knew that the PPP would run out. We did not know it would run out as quickly as it did. So the Paycheck Protection funding ran out. So the program is close to new applicants. So, but there are millions still in the pipeline that are trying to get their applications approved, trying to get their approved applications funded. So this is the time to ask your questions. I know many of you all that are in this situation. But the funding run out. The SBA notified the lenders. So everybody knows that the funding ran out. You'll see on my screen, I have the link to how you can locate a CDFI. There is $8 billion, and I'm sure it's dwindling down at this point. But it is open to new applicants, but you must go through a CDFI, a Community Development Financial Institution. So they have lenders that are approved through the SBA. Blue Corn. Okay, people have asked me, is this a legitimate company? They are kind of like a broker. They partner with approved lenders. They have been one of the ones on the forefront. They're like Womply, right? And Womply has different lenders, and they have the fast track program to get you approved quicker. But across the board, as we got closer and closer to it, lenders are getting slower and slower. But Blue Acorn is a legitimate place to get funding. They are partnered with CDFI. So that's the difference in why why you're still able to put in an application. So if you want to apply and have a chance at PPP, I would highly encourage you to use Blue Acorn or use the link, the locator, to find a CDFI in your local geographic area. It would tell you what CDFIs are available, because this $8 billion is set aside for those community lenders that serve the underserved population of businesses, those that are minority, women, socially and economically disadvantaged businesses. So you still have an opportunity to get your applications in. Again, it's open now. It could be closed tomorrow because that's how quickly people are applying, and that means the calculator is the timer is dwindling down. 8 billion only goes so far. Okay, so what we do know as of right now is that in 2021, a little bit less than 6 billion has been approved. We know that 80%. 85% has gone to businesses that receive 50K or less. There have been 5,249 lenders. So there's a lot of lenders participating in the program. So there's a lot of approved lenders that are authorized to process PPP applications. One thing that we know, if you apply for PPP and you got the denial letter because they ran out of funding, please let me know in the comments. Some of you all have been denied by different lenders, and you really, shouldn't have been denied because once you sign the loan paperwork, you are in. You signed the promissory note, so you have been pre-qualified or pre-approved. If you are at that point with the SBA, I don't know why they declined, right? So, but you're getting declined emails stating that they ran out of funding. Now, I do test applications through the different lenders just to test it out because that's what I do. Just being on the forefront of this and being an advocate, making sure, vetting them out, looking at how their process work, how quickly they are. And so one of the ones that I had submitted, I received an email the very next day that said my application was denied or it was avoided because the funding had ran out. So every lender is different in what they're asking for, what they're requiring. And I know, like right now, and I said before, because of the demand, there's a lot of pressure on these lenders. It's taking them extra long. But I just don't understand what once you get to the point where you're approved, why are you sitting in funding status for like 3, 4, 5 weeks? So I know it can be very frustrating. But here's the thing. It may be for 2 reasons. So if you did not see my PPP idle scam or fraud video, I did one on fraud because there's a lot of fraud and scams, and the SBA, the lenders are cracking down. Lenders have been subpoenaed for their files. They are just straight freezing your file no matter where you are in the process, and you're like, okay, where's my money at? Why haven't I heard from anything? And it may be because your file is under investigation. I can't say that, but in the video I go through the different scenarios, what's happening. You may intentionally or not or unintentionally may have provided incorrect information and that threw up a red flag. So I tell people this all the time. Submitting back-to-back applications, not having your information correct, using these random people in comments to process that you're giving thousands of dollars to that you shouldn't be, by the way, but you're giving them thousands of dollars. You don't know what they're putting in as your information. You're giving it the money. You're telling them to apply on your behalf. And then they're doing that and they're putting false information in, and you are not any the wiser. You have no clue until something happens and comes back. So either you're going to be caught on the front end. So some of those don't get through and some of them do get through. So they get through and you apply for PPP, then what's going to happen is you're going to get stuck at the forgiveness part. It's not enough to get the loan. I said, we talk about free money all the time, okay? But you have to go through the entire process. You have to be able to apply for forgiveness. And if they at any point detect fraud, if there's an investigation, and it's not just for those that are $1 million in value, you can have a $10,000 funded PPP application and they investigate and they can come after you, right? They can freeze your file. They can refuse to forgive your application. Then you're stuck. They can come after you for the money, charge you penalties and fees. and you can get civil penalties and criminal penalties up to imprisonment. And so I talked about that the other day, yesterday or the day before, that you can, for loan application fraud, you can get up to 30 years and $1 million fine. And there's multiple levels of or counts of fraud, right? Wire fraud, bank fraud, application fraud, SBA fraud. These are all separate. And if you're found to have multiples, then you will be charged on those multiple instances. So people are preying. There's criminals preying on small businesses. So it's up to you to do your due diligence. Vet out people. Stop giving your information. We will never ask for your information. The SBA will never ask you to provide personal information on Telegram, Instagram, text message. And if it's not, there's people pretend to be us. There's people that pretend to be the SBA every single day. They're not the SBA. If it does not have SBA.gov on the end, the SBA clearly says this in all their email correspondence. They even have it on their website, multiple places on their website, that they are not the SBA. Anybody could create a logo that says SBA. That does not mean they are the SBA. Okay. So that is important. And making sure when you're certifying, you're clicking these different buttons and you're saying no, they're asking you a question, you say yes or say no, and you're not careful and you click yes when you should have clicked no, you click no when you should have clicked yes. Again, that will cause you problems, delays in your application, could potentially throw up a red flag as far as them, again, investigating your file. Because know that these government agencies talk to each other. They're looking at your information. So when people get the line, you can't keep up with all the lies. Something is going to fall apart at some point. So I explained all of that yesterday, how it can become a domino effect. And it's just going to be a messed up situation. So I know for sure a lot of applications out there, you will never get funded because it's stuck in your file is under investigation, and they will most likely not even tell you. Okay. And these are federal crimes. Okay. These are taxpayer dollars. These are dollars that are intended for businesses that are struggling. So even if you said on the application, they asked you, does your business need this? Is this a necessity? Have you been affected by COVID-19? Even for unemployment, if you say yes and the answer is no, that's fraud. That's lying. Okay. If you lie on your application, if you fudge a bank statement, like I was scrolling earlier on Facebook, just doing some investigation on Bluecorn, and somebody had posted about, not paying people $2,000, $3,000 to help with their PPP. But she gave incorrect information. She basically was telling people telling them you could lie, right? Make up information on your own and not pay the money. She was basically saying, if you don't have a bank statement, you can go draft one up in your Google file. No, you cannot. What in the world? But you guys, a lot of you all are listening to them and taking their advice, and you are going to get in trouble. You can't make up bank statements. It's either you have a bank account, you've had banking transactions, or you didn't. And to think you won't get caught is unrealistic. It's going to come crashing down. So my recommendation to you is to make sure that you really look over your file. If you feel for any reason that your information is inaccurate, that you receive funding in error due to yourself or someone else, then my recommendation is to return the money as soon as possible. Okay. It is no guarantee just because if you keep the money and you pay and then, you just don't give it forgiven, that they won't come after you, because it's still money that you received that you should not have received, right? Or if you receive the amount higher than what you should receive because somebody inflated your numbers, right? Or you said you had more employees than you actually do, or your revenues were more than they actually are. Okay. So if you have questions related to the PPP, let me know in the comments. Because I know a lot of you all are still in process. It is very slow for a lot. Fortunately for me, it was not slow. The lenders I work for, and I try to get mine in quickly. But some of you all are held up. You're stuck, and there is really no guarantee because the funding has run out that you will get the loan, the PPP forgivable loan. But if you are still in process, that is a good thing. If you have not received a notification, an email that said that you're no longer in the running, that is a good thing. Do make sure too that you continue to follow up, email, call them, call your lender, ask them what's going on. Some are more responsive than others. I know some are putting out emails, just giving like an update. I know one lender did that today. They actually it was Bluecorn, that the CDFI that they work for, because sometimes, like, I think they're a newer partner. And so sometimes they have these newer partnerships and they have all this demand for applications, it's then harder for them to keep up. They can only process so many per day. And I have no clue how many people they have on staff to process all these applications. But they did put out a notice saying that, what they're doing, that they're still processing them, be patient, and they're trying to work through all of the different applications. That's really what people want, is communication. But if the lender's just leaving you without any communication, you don't know what is going on, that becomes very frustrating. So I get that. So those are the PPP updates. You can still, again, if you go through a CDFI, apply. I spoke to some people as well. Lenders can make a decision if they're going to fund you second draw before the 8 weeks. I did not have to wait 8 weeks. The SBA changed that requirement. However, your lender can decide that they will hold you to wait the 8 weeks. It just depends on the lender. I did not have to wait 8 weeks after I was funded. But I say you cannot apply for first draw and second draw at the same time. You cannot apply for second draw if you haven't been funded for first draw. Yeah, you have to be funded for first draw, then allocate those funds, right, to your salary if you're self-employed, or if you have employees or you're self-employed, 60% to your salary, 40% to your other business operating expenses. Okay, and that's how it is. Then you can apply for the second draw, and it depends on the lender. So my understanding, someone just told me that Boo Acorn told them when she talked to them, she had to wait 8 weeks. And she was just funded her first draw. So think about when you were funded, who you're actually going through, and what their requirements are as far as the second draw is concerned. But there's still opportunity for you to get it. So let's talk about the EIDL loan really quickly. Again, there's an opportunity to get an increase if you have. First of all, if you need an EIDL loan, the program is extended to December 2021. So you can still apply for EIDL loan. This is a loan program that is not forgivable at this point. Although there's a push to have it forgivable, it is not. Okay. So it has loan terms 3.75% for profit, 2.75% if you're nonprofit. They have implemented an increase. So some of those of you that have been funded, you should have received an email, or you should have in your back office, they added a button, a submit button, submit for processing button that you should be able to see, or to request in your back office how much of an increase that you want. They increased it from 6 months of working capital to 24 months. So that's a big increase. And they increased the max amount from 150,000 to 500,000. So if you've been funded the EIDL loan, please let me know in the comments if you've requested an increase and gotten it. Or if you're still pending, let me know in the comments, because I like to know where different people are in the process. Now, it's one thing to know this, again, where it comes to the information you provide and if it's accurate or not. And if you're not doing it and you have people putting in information, you have no clue what they're doing, they don't really know what information they're providing, you're going to get denied. But fortunately, there's a reconsideration process. Okay. So, but what they're going to look at, if you're estimating amounts and you're giving them, and people have come to my inbox, whether they said that they intentionally lied and trying to get an increase, or somebody else lied and they're trying to get an increase, you're going to get found out. That's why the SBA is requesting the 405-6T. That's why they're declining you the EIDL grant and may deny you the increase if you don't have, if they cannot verify with the IRS your tax returns and the amount on your tax returns. You should know what you made in 2019 and what you filed on your taxes. But the reality is a lot of people do not. Okay, so especially if you're, again, it comes, if you're lying, it's hard to keep up. And remember what you lied about and what numbers you put down. If they go by a variance, and if you're off of that variance, they're going to deny your increase. So some of you all, you may have gotten an email, a notification that you've been denied the increase. It's not automatic. Okay, they're putting in many more controls now to verify you, verify your identity, verify your business is legit, and verify your income is accurate, and your loss, what you had in a loss. Okay, so these are just some things to know. It may be something you're doing. And so I know people that maybe hit the wrong button. They asking you questions. It's so important. Don't speed through those questions. Like even with the child support, right? If they ask you about bankruptcy and things like that, and you hit yes, right, and you meant to hit no, they're going based on what you put down on the application. And then they're going to deny you. But the good thing is that you have recourse. You can appeal through the reconsideration process for the EIDL loan to get your increase. Or even if you're just applying for the loan and they deny you, you can appeal through the reconsideration process and still get funded. So many people have done that. I have several videos on the reconsideration process. So if you've been declined and want the EIDL loan, want to be approved, go through that. Just make sure you're going through the right steps, submitting it to the right email. And again, you could just go to our EIDL reconsideration videos for that. Now, targeted EIDL grants, we know they have been very slow. So I know some of you all still haven't gotten your invite. Some people are still getting their invites now. So if you know that you applied to the EIDL program on or before December 27th of 2020, and you're like, I still haven't gotten my email. What's going on? All my friends have the email. They are still sending emails. They are slow. So like the first 20 billion they exhausted has been approved. Businesses have been approved. They have been funded. But it was an additional 15,000 that was added on in the American Rescue Plan Act. So they're slow to get through that. So I actually have some numbers here for the latest report. So the SBA puts out reports on all of these different programs. I have them up here. I may or may not share the screen. I'll see. So, but for the targeted grants, just to show you how slow they are, that means there's still hope for you. And let me know out there if you've gotten your invite for the targeted EIDL grant for up to 10,000 or the balance thereof. If you've been approved, if you've been denied, they instituted a formal reevaluation process for the grants that they did not have before. Before, you could not get an appeal. It was you denied and that's it. Okay. But because small businesses advocated for themselves and pushed for them to get a reevaluation process, they put in a formal process. So if you're denied, that's not the end of it. You can appeal it and see if you can overcome that appeal and get approved for your targeted EIDL grant. Now, as of the report on May the 6th, and these are based on the period, right? The periods that they put out this report, only a little bit more than 99,000 small businesses were approved for $821 million. Okay, so that means 97% have not yet been approved for funding, or funding has not gone out for 90%. 97% of businesses. So you still in the running. Again, this is for the targeted EIDL grants. We know that they rolled this out in 2 phases. Those that got partial grants got first applications in, and then those like me that didn't get any money because they ran out of funding. We were next in line, so they did 2 phases or 2 waves. So I mentioned before, I have gone through the process. I got the invite. I followed the steps. I got approved. I followed the steps. I received another email and a call to verify my identity. Went through that process, was approved that same day. And I think it was 5 days later, just due to the weekend, that I actually had the deposit in my account. So people are getting funded. I got funded the $10,000, so other people have as well. Now, this goes back to what you put on your application. Same what I said with PPP and EIDL. A lot of you all are getting denied based on what you put down. A lot of you all don't know how to calculate if your 30% decrease in gross revenue, right? Which is a requirement to be able to show over an 8-week period. And then we know people, and sometimes, the people on the SBA representatives are looking at it. Maybe they may make an error. So I've had that happen as well, that people said, well, I did have a decrease, and they said I did not. Then you have recourse. You can file for a reevaluation, but you need to have proof. You then once you get to that reevaluation reconsideration, they ask you for more information that they're going to use to validate that you are correct. So again, that's why you have to have integrity, be telling the truth about your information. The easiest way to be able to show this is to pull your profit and loss statements. If you're falsifying, fudging numbers, statements, all that, that is again fraud. Again, so you want to make sure you're giving accurate information. And that you know what information you're giving, because some people have given information, didn't know, they gave the information, but didn't know how to calculate for themselves. And now it comes back and says that you didn't have a 30% decrease. If you didn't have a 30% decrease, you're not going to get approved. Likewise with the low income community. Someone had brought up before, like if you're an Uber driver and you're saying, okay, you drive through low income communities, that does not count. Okay, it's where your business is located. If you're a home-based business, which you are, if you're an Uber driver, rideshare driver, or do any type of business like that, your business is your home business, is your home address, right? My business is a home-based business, so the address is the same. They're going based on your business address. And some of you have moved, maybe you had a switch in addresses, maybe you're on borderline, maybe your map, when you looked at the map, it said yes, but they denied you. I would encourage you to file for reevaluation. But again, you need to be able to speak to, and we again have a video on the process to make it easy. You want to make sure you follow instructions exactly how they say it. Speak to exactly what the denial is about. Don't ramble on about other stuff. Address the denial and provide proof that what you were denied for is actually should have been approved. If you can do that, then you should be approved. Now, if you know right out that you didn't have a 30% decrease, or you're not in a low income community, then you're just denied and you don't meet the qualifications. But that's not all you can do. You can petition, you can go to Twitter, you can call your SBA district office, you can call your congressional reps, because at the end of the day, every one of us that applied, that had a successful application and a legitimate business, should get the money. Now, we know all businesses that apply and that received either a loan or a grant were not legitimate businesses. There's a lot of people that made up fake businesses. Again, whether they caught you before, catch you now, or catch you weeks, months, or years down the road, it can happen. Okay. Yes, even if you got $10,000, they may decide, okay, it's $10,000. This is maybe a minimal amount, but that's not minimum for the people that have been impacted, the small business owners. So, but they may say, okay, we're not going to go after them criminal charges, but we're going to go after them civilly. Okay, so they always have multiple options. So just be mindful of that. So again, they're still processing these targeted EIDL grant applications. I received mine. Right now, I'm on the lookout. I have not received the email for the supplemental grant. So they, a couple of weeks ago, announced that they were launching that supplemental $5,000 grant. And I know some of you have already received the email. If you received the email, let me know. If you gotten approved, let us know in the comments. And if you've gotten your $5,000, which means that you have a total of $15,000 under this program, congratulations to you, and let us know in the comments. I'm actually still waiting to see if I get one of those emails. There's only $5 billion allocated for the supplemental grant program that will go to 1 million businesses. Again, time is of the essence when you get that email because it's first come, first serve. First come, first serve, and it's only 1 million businesses. How to qualify for the supplemental grant is that you, again, must be in a low income community, your business, okay? And you must be able to show that you had at least a 50% economic loss. They consider that a severe loss. So 50% or greater loss to be able to qualify for the supplemental targeted EIDL grant program, okay? So again, these programs are still alive and well. They're processing, although very slow, but we already anticipated that for the SBA. They have 21 days to process your application to let you know if you're approved or denied. I can tell you when I was approved, it actually took maybe a week and a half before I actually received the approval email. So regardless of if you're approved or denied, they have to send you an email. So you may see it, you may get funded first and then get the approval email, but you're going to get it at some point because they have to send it to you. There are people saying that they were denied, and we know there was a big influx of denials, and like with child support, people that don't even have children were told that they owe child support, go through the reevaluation process, as I said before. But if you're denied, they will always tell you. And I ask people, they say, I was denied. Okay, well, why? So let's start there. Why were you denied? So how can you overcome that denial? No matter what the program is, right? With the SBA, with the EIDL programs, you have to go through the SBA. With the PPP, you go to another lender, or you stay with the lender, you correct whatever the issue is if you can, and then you just reapply is what they will tell you, the lenders will tell you. Okay, so I'm just going to go really quickly and just see if there's any questions on here. Yes, they're still sending supplemental grant invites for targeted EIDLs. I'm checking mine. So again, reminder, check your inbox, check your spam folders, check your promotional folders. Those emails can wind up in any of those folders. They will always come from SBA.gov. And for targeted EIDLs, I believe the email address is targetedadvance at SBA.gov. If it has a .net, .org, .com, it is not the SBA. And they will have actually your number. So someone had asked me the other day, they have received, people send me screenshots a lot. Someone was asking them for information. This is a red flag that this is not the SBA. They asked them for their number. Like when the SBA emails you, they already know you applied. They have your number. So when they sent me the invite, the number was in the invite. So if somebody's asking you for your number, that should be a problem. That should be a red flag to you. But I do know that the SBA will call you. Now, they will email you first. They will call you. They will go through a verification process. This is something I forgot to say. When they go through that verification process, if you can't pass that, you're going to be denied. Okay? If you're applying for PPP and you get to the signing the loan document part, they ask you, I said this before, I thought it was so funny. They will ask you questions 20 plus years back. And I mean, seriously, if I didn't have a good memory, it's like, or if I moved like 20 times, which I haven't, would I be able to remember all of those different addresses where I lived at and all that? But if you cannot pass the verifications, you will be denied. Okay. So I've seen it happen to people. You have to be able to answer all those questions. That verifies your identity, that you're who you say you are, because there's a lot of identity theft. I've actually had people reach out to me that said that their identity was stolen, and people submitted applications in their name that they didn't get the money, and they're asking me like what recourses to take. So again, if you think that there's any fraud, go back to the fraud video, the number and email to the OIG. You want to report it to the SBA, and you want to report it to your lender. You want to let them know, or your bank. You may also have the opportunity to freeze your credit report as well, your credit file. If you feel like that you have been a victim of identity theft. It's a lot of it out here. So you just have to be careful. Okay. So you're welcome. You're so welcome. So when will we review and sign button be activated? Oh, this is another thing for EIDL loans. If you're in the reconsideration process, then you may not see, if you're trying to get an increase, and you may not see that that submit button, right? Submit for processing. Make sure if you apply for the targeted EIDL grant as well, that it's not just still sitting in processing and you haven't heard anything. It's in your portal and you will see a blue button. It says submit for processing. If your file says processing and that blue button is there, you need to click it. Otherwise, your file is just sitting there. Nobody will ever review it. It's only when you click that button that it will move to someone to review it. That's what happened to me. And the only reason I knew about it because I called and inquired because I wanted to make sure I submitted everything, that everything was fine. And then we walked through it. She was like, did you click this? Did you click that? And I'm saying it's showing this and it's showing that. And she was like, no, you need to click the button. She was like, that's what's going to prompt it to go to review. Otherwise, it would have still been sitting there. Okay. And they would have been ran out of money and I wouldn't have been the wiser. So check in your application portal. Also for the increase as well, a submit button. If there's a button that you need that's not there, it may not be there because you're in the reconsideration process. Call the SBA, right? Call the right department, depending on which program you're involved with, and then ask them what the process is to get the button so you make sure that you can follow through and you continue to move through the process. That's going to be important. Yes, Susan, it's not worth the fraud charge. I mean, if you just need every day they come out with new people that they have charged, that they have convicted, they have sentenced. It's just the fraud out here is amazing. It's like it's a going thing. Like people are literally, and you have family members and friends that are doing this. They have no business. Like you have no business, and you think you're entitled to PPP, and you think you're entitled to EIDL and a grant. You know, I talk about free money all day, but it's free, but it's not free. There's things that you're going to have to do and give, and you're going to have to validate and prove that your business. I can do that. So that's why I'm able to get free money. I can follow through with the steps. I can provide legitimate information, proof of my income, proof that I had a loss, that I did suffer in 2020 due to COVID-19. I can do that. If you cannot do that, you should not be applying to these different programs. And if you can, you should not be inflating your numbers to get more than what you are entitled to. It's only going to come back to bite you. And I just pull up an article, just put SBA fraud, Google it, SBA fraud, PPP fraud, EIDL fraud. Watch some of the videos on YouTube. I displayed one in the video that I did the other day. I mean, you have people buying Lamborghinis, buying mansions. So people don't know how to, first of all, you all are not skilled at it. Okay. So you doing this, then you immediately go out and buy a mansion. You immediately go out and buy a Lamborghini. You immediately go out and take some fancy trip. You are calling attention to yourself. So just expect that the feds will be coming for you. Okay, just expect it. You're calling attention to yourself. Yeah, and it's definitely not worth it. You're so right. I received an invite for me to verify and now states in process. I'm mapped in a low income area. I have all my documents, but review sign button is not highlighted. So are you referring to the loan or to the grant? Because the mapped in the low income areas for the grant, and I don't remember having to sign any legal documents for that. The grant and the loan are different. Grant is the free money that doesn't have to be paid back as tax free. The loan does have to be paid back, and you will have to sign loan documents for that. The only document that I remember I had to sign was the 4056T. That is the request for your tax returns. So even though the IRS is backed up as well with the tax returns, I'm still hearing even people going through the reevaluation process. And if this is you, let me know that you went through the reevaluation process And if it's still not in the shown in the IRS, they're still denying you the targeted advance. Because they can't verify it. That's one of the controls that they use to detect fraud. I mean, the fraud is rampant. And that's one of the things they weren't using in the initial bill. That's why so many people got away with fraud. Now, had they required it in the beginning, when they first came out under the CARES Act, that everybody signed that 4506T, so many people wouldn't have got fraudulent loans or the advance. So they added it back in, is my understanding of what happened. So I got the first amount. Should I apply for an increase? If you need the increase, apply. If you need it, apply for it, right? But not everybody needs it. And I have people have contacted me and asking me for advice. Like, I did really well in 2020. They don't want to, be greedy. You have to look, and maybe you did well, but your expenses went up. We know businesses' expenses went up. Now you have extra PPE equipment. You may have had to build out an outside area. So that's added expense. Okay. So if you've been impacted in that way, again, you assess your own business. But I know people, they said that they actually did way better in 2020 than they did in 2019. That's a blessing to be able to say that. Not everybody has. Okay. All right. So there's a lot of comments on here. Blue Acorn is getting people approved who don't have a real business. I know 20 people. This is everybody. So it's not, these are just like facilitators. Okay. The Blue Acorn, Womply, they're facilitators. They partner with other lenders. Okay. They are trying to put in as many controls as possible to prevent fraud, but not everybody is caught, right? But if you're not caught on the front end, you're going to be caught at some point. And if you know somebody has been fraudulent, like these 20 people you say they got 20,000 that shouldn't have, we all know these people. PPP is public record, so that if you get it fraudulently, it's on public record that you got it, right? If you made up a business, if you falsified your information, you said you had employees you didn't have, it's public record. You can report those people. If you're that concerned about it, you can report them. But you can't just put it on these different, Womply and Blue Acorn, because people have frauded the SBA. That's why they have the OIG. They have a whole team of people that they're putting together to combat fraud and to go after these people, right? So, it's not one individual company. And my understanding, like I said, Womply sent an email out saying that, they're trying to help businesses, trying to underserved populations, those that were left out, fast tracking it. And they said that they are disappointed that they're receiving so many fraudulent applications. And it's just depending on what controls they put in place to be able to catch it. But they're getting so many now. The federal government is subpoenaing them, and they said, best believe we are fully cooperating with the government and are releasing whatever files they ask for. That could be yours. Yours has been flagged for investigation, and they won't tell you. They will just give over your files. And then you may get a knock at the door with the feds. I mean, that's how it works. I mean, if you've ever, and everybody has been involved with the feds, but that's pretty much how it works. Okay. All right. So I think those are the questions. We have a lot of comments on here. I will come back again after the broadcast and, answer any questions that you all have. But get your applications in. Again, Restaurant Revitalization Grant is open. Shuttered Venue Grant is open. You can still apply for PPP if you go through a CDFI. That is a community development, a financial institution lender. There are hundreds of them around the country. So you can still apply for that, still apply for the EIDL loan, still apply for the targeted EIDL grant. There's still opportunities for you all to get your money, still billions available to do it. Just do your due diligence, be proactive, be intentional. and protect yourself as a vulnerable small business. Advocate for yourself. Get on the phone. This is you. If you want to get free money for your business, what is out here, you have to take an active approach. You can't be passive in it, okay? And don't let people take advantage of you. You are the CEO of your business, okay? So you have to protect it. And then you have to do what's necessary to get whatever you need so you can achieve your goals, okay? So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed your Saturday. I know I'm going to enjoy mine. I'm going to go get some rest. Continue to be the boss with amplified impact. Continue to stay safe and in good health. Have a wonderful day.